Hi everyone, this is Sean here. Today I'm making another video, this time a tutorial that's more related to music than as compared to my last one where I talked about my VR headset, the Oculus Quest. Basically here I have a new gadget. It's from a company called Czur and it's the Aura Pro overhead scanner. And if you're like me, like most musicians, we have a huge library of scores and would like to digitize them to use them on an iPad or an ebook reader or such, then this comes in very useful because I think it's the fastest and actually most efficient way to scan your scores. So just a quick tutorial and some tips in case you run into any issues. Here I have two scores that I would like to demonstrate. So one is the standard size, which is larger than A4. That's usually applying for most of the scores. Yeah. So from the Peters edition, Urtext, Universal, and Baron-Reiter, they all use around this size, which is slightly larger than A4. It's a letter size. US letter, I believe it's called. And I will also demonstrate for photocopied scores, so for A4 size scores. And I will show you why there's a difference when you're scanning the both of them. Alright, so what I like about this scanner is that it can scan both sides of the scores simultaneously, and it has an auto detection feature, so it knows where the seams are, the book seams are, and it knows how to split them after you capture them. And this is all done within a split second. It's, I think, maybe 1.5 seconds to scan or something like this. Maybe it takes another second to process, but while it's processing, you can flip anyway. So you're saving time, a lot of time there. There are a few modes in this scanner. Firstly, what you have to do is you have this mat, and this mat should cover the entire area where the camera can see. So it should not have any corners sticking out, so like this, not like this. Okay, so you should make sure that it covers the entire area. If not, the scanner might pick up the uncovered black areas as a document. So once you have it all covered nicely, then you put your book here. And if you're just scanning single-sided, then you use the mode over here which says flat single page. Now, the cool thing about this software is that to scan it, you actually don't need to press any button. You only need to tap something with your foot. It comes with a foot pedal. And that I think is really cool because, as you can see later, when you are scanning both sides of the book, sometimes the pages don't stay flat and you might need to use your hands to hold them down. And if you do so, then both hands are occupied and you have no way to actually tap something. So it's really cool that they decided to make scanning possible with just the tap of your foot. Okay, so let's put the first page like this, and as you can see, it automatically detects even if it's not straight. So even if you slant it like this, it still detects. So that's pretty cool. So let's put it this way here, kind of straight. All right, and just tap our foot here. And the first page is scanned. And then, there we go. That's done. So now we open up to a 2-page area, and as you can see, the scanner can actually fit, or it can actually capture both sides at the same time, or it can fit the width of the camera basically of this larger than A4 document or book, in this case, scores. So we can put it like this, and we can change it now to facing pages, and now you will see a line in the middle where you align your seam to it. I mean, it doesn't have to be so accurate, because if you see on either side of the line there's an orange area that is like the area where the camera will still kind of detect where the seam is. So even if it's a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, or it's a little bit slanted or whatever, it doesn't really matter as long as it's the seam is within this orange area. What is important, however, is to make sure that the scanner does capture the seam correctly from the first page onwards, because I realized that if the first few pages it did not detect the seam properly, then the subsequent pages will usually follow suit with the force of detection. So you want to make sure that the first few pages are already evenly properly aligned. To do so, you can try capturing, but this is a problem. I mean, it's a software issue, I guess. Sometimes if the book is too flat like this and you try to capture it, sometimes it doesn't actually detect the seam at all, and then you have some problems. So I realized that the book should not be too flat, because after all, it has an auto crop feature. It has also a feature that will flatten the pages. So even if it's a bit bent, it doesn't really matter, because when you scan, 3 laser lines will come into the picture, and for a split second there, and those laser lines will tell the scanner if the book is flat or not, and what kind of processing it needs to be done to flatten it afterwards. So just make sure it has a little bit of curvature here, so that you have a shadow or something that the scanner can actually detect that this is a line. All right, so enough said. I'm going to go ahead and tap this page now. All right. And now for this page as well, leave it a little bit folded like that. Well, not too much, just like that. Good. And I don't know if you can see from the camera, there's these 3 laser lines. Once that is on score, once it disappears, which just takes a second, yeah, you can always start flipping, even if it's still processing on there. So let's do the same for the next page. Great. So this score is relatively thin, but if you wanted to scan thicker books, I don't know, or complicated one sonatas or something like this, then often you have the problem that the books don't stay flat and they curved way too much. Yeah? And that's when you have these nifty finger cots, they're called, with a rubberized base here. What you do is you just slip them like this, your thumb on top, index finger in, and important is that this area has to be aligned with the book. So not like this, but like this. And when you do it this way, the scanner will automatically detect the finger chords and Photoshop edit them out of the picture, so you don't actually see them, and that is a very cool feature. Most of the time it works perfectly. I mean, there are some pages like later when you see maybe there's 1 or 2 pages where it did not edit it perfectly, but you can always rescan it later. So, but for the most part it does. There's also the feature on the app where you can detect your finger, but because our skin color is closer to the color of the books, so it might have some problems, but so far I have not had any problems with that. So if you want to activate the feature, under facing pages, if you go to this thing down here, you can choose finger remover, you can choose with finger chords or without finger chords. And now I will put with finger chords, but like I said, you can also do it without finger chords. It might not be that accurate, that's all. All right. So just for the fun of it, I don't really need it in the score, but just for the fun of it, let's put the finger chords over here. Be careful not to, of course, block the score with the finger chords. And let's scan it. All right, let's see what happens. And voila, actually the thing is, the finger chords were not shown in the scan, but I realized it was not very straight. We can straighten it up later. Anyway, so next page onwards. Now I showed you how to use them, but I don't need them for this course, so let's just continue so I can just show you how fast it is. Alright, so red light is gone. Flip to the next page, tap the foot. Red light is gone, next page. There we go, next page. Just be sure, you know, when you look at the screen that it's still properly aligned. If you flip the pages too vigorously, then maybe the book will get out of alignment, so like that. As you can see here, it's really fast. And once the laser lines are gone, if it's still processing, you can already start flipping, so that's not a problem there. Alright, so for the last page, if I wanted to scan it, it's not so important. I will flip it back to flat single page. And it detects it automatically. One last time. And that's that. So, you've basically just scanned Debussy's Leisure Use, Joyous Island for piano, into your computer. It saves them as JPEG images. Now, to do some processing, post-processing, as you can see over here, while you are scanning, you can actually choose already what kind of scan quality and what kind of scan type you want. So this is black and white, there's color, grayscale, stamps, patterns and stuff, and no filter. Normally it works well with black and white. So for scores, I think we'll just keep it at black and white. Okay, so let's go back now and we'll see. So this is our scan score, and looking really good. The first page on the right here, you can see all the pages. If you scroll through them using the arrow keys up and down. So this one it did not detect because it was just a blank page. So we can just delete this. To delete it, just click this DEL, or you can select multiple ones and then click the trash bin here to delete them all at once. So I'm going to delete this one here. Alright, this is also blank. It goes in the trash. So I also tick move the trash, because if you just permanently delete the file without moving the trash, then I suppose it only deletes it from the software but not from your computer. But I want it gone from both places. So move the trash, confirm. And alright, let's keep this page. And here we go. So far so good. This is a little bit lopsided, as you can see. So sometimes it does happen, but don't fret. After you do it, you can always go to auxiliary correction. And as you can see here, the laser lines show you the curvature of the book, and that will auto-correct to flatten it based on that. But I wouldn't advise adjusting the laser lines because it's, well, at least I haven't mastered it yet. So if it's really off, I would just rescan the page, and you can do that very easily. But adjusting the center seams, this is something that can be done very easily. So just click adjust the center seams, and then you just move it to the middle of the book like this, to the seam, and then confirm. And voila, see? Your page is straight already. So that's really good. You can just do that. Okay, good. This one's a little bit off. It's not too bad. But if you wanted to be a perfectionist, you can do that again. It's not such a big deal. Just like this. Align with the staplers. There we go. And yeah. I don't even know which one is the one we use the finger chords. Actually, it was probably that one, but as you can see, none of them show the finger chords. So those things, yeah, it magically disappeared. That is quite awesome. Wonderful. Alright, this last page here, we don't need it. And this one, well, it's also not scanned. It didn't really scan it properly. Again, you can go to auxiliary connection, but okay, that's why. So, in a case like this, where you find out that this page is not scanned properly and you would like to rescan it, all you have to do, of course, go to the page itself. So that was number 16. There we go. Number 16 is here. Yeah, it didn't scan properly because of this page over here. So, what I would do is I would just like throw it like this. It's probably easier than to scan a single side. And to rescan a page, all you have to do is click this button here, rescan the image, which is REP for some reason. Yeah. This is to insert a new image before it, and this is to add a new image after the current one. So as you can see, there are different buttons here, shortcuts that you can do to make your workflow much easier. What we want to do is to rescan the image, so we click on this right here, and we go to single side. So single tap, let's see. Alright, single tap. Okay, that's done. Go back. Ta-da! It replaced it. So, don't you think this is pretty cool? Okay, so our entire thing is done. Now what do we do? How do we save it? This is something I have to say also. When you go under the settings over here, you can actually choose the system settings. Okay, that's not really that. Yeah, that's not really that interesting. Let's go to scanner settings. Okay, so frequency, I'll leave it. Resolution, this is this thing. For scores, I feel that 8 megapixel is fine. 5 is a little bit dodgy, but 8 megapixel is fine. If this thing can go all the way up to 40 megapixels, but then, you know, we have so many pages and it's going to be really big. So I think a balance between quality and the size, 8 megapixels is a sweet spot. Image format, I put it on low and JPEG, but as you can see, it still looks pretty sharp, so it's good enough for your ebook reader and stuff. So JPEG, low, resolution 8 megapixels, that's all you need to know. So to save it, just select all of this, pages. You can also select only left pages, only right pages. It's kind of cool. You can of course adjust, which is something that, okay, I'll just show you right now. So if you click on a single page here and below here, you can also adjust, you can rotate it, you can crop it. You can explore these options. You can go back to the color mode and change the color mode there from black and white to grayscale or stamps or whatever. You can print it, whatever. But I think what is interesting for people would be to adjust the contrast. This is usually just for the title page. Yeah, for the normal scores, the contrast is normally fine. But for the title page, if you realize it's faded out or something, you can adjust the thickness, you can adjust the contrast itself. So if I go -1, you can see, or +1, you can see. Sharpness, thickness, look at that. So self-explanatory there, nothing new needs to be said. Let's go ahead, select all of them, and let's go and create a PDF. I mean, if this was a book with words, then you have this really cool feature called OCR, Optical Character Recognition. So basically, it can detect all the words on the page and you can save it as an editable PDF or Word document, and that is super cool. But in this case, it can't detect music notes yet. Then you can import it to Sibelius or Finale, so, well, maybe for the future. Let's just go to PDF right here. Now, PDF quality, again, for scores, 50% is good enough, yeah? And I would do the standardization. Standardized meaning to say that, you know, sometimes when it scans, it doesn't scan exactly the same number of pixels, right? And we don't want the resulting PDF when you open it to be some bigger and some smaller than one another. So you want to standardize it. For books, like I said, this Urtext and Behrenreiter and all the normal size scores, they usually are in letter format. So for size, I would just go to US letter, orientation, portrait, and you are done. But if you are sending an A4 size paper, then of course you would go to A4 instead. So these are the only two things that you need to take note. Alright, so US letter, portrait, and confirm. And then I'll just save it. Let's save it to the desktop, untitled, okay. And completed. After it's done, the desktop will open and then you can click it and look at it. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Yeah. So, alright, so now I will not scan the entire thing. So after this is done, I will just delete here because you don't need it already. Okay, you can keep it. I mean, the JPEGs are all neatly it's all neatly saved into a folder anyway. You can keep it, you can delete it, so you can move to trash. So I'll just move the entire thing to trash over here. Good. Now I would scan again. Now I'm going to show you how to scan an A4 size. Why does it matter? Well, very simple. What I mentioned before about the scanner detecting the seams, well, if you're scanning a binded book, a ring binded book, it can't detect the seams because there are no seams. So I realized that there's a workaround, but it took me a while to figure it out. I was trying very hard to try and get the scanner to detect where the center of the book is, but it just wouldn't do so. So what I decided is I'll do a manual scan. But the cool thing about this scanner is that if you switch to manual selection, you can scan both sides at once still. And how you do that? Very simple. You use your cursor and you draw a box over the first page. So it says here, number 1, right? Then you draw another box for the second page. more or less, something like that. You can still shift it around. There we go. So now you have page 1 on the left, page 2 on the right. So in that way, it will always scan both pages this way, and it will be always 1, 2, 1, 2. So it will be in the right order. And that is perfect because then you can still do the double scanning, and it will be always consistent because it doesn't need to detect the seams, and so you won't have any trial and error down there. It's just taking exactly what you tell it to take. And now let's try. It's a very short score, so let's just go along with it. So that's the first page. Second page. Well, 2 sides of it. Okay, so this is Rondo Cappuccino by Mendelssohn. Oh, sorry, Capriccioso by Mendelssohn. Let's go. I'm missing one here. Very nice piece. Okay, page 11, 12 and 13. Here we go. And we are done. Yeah, okay, let's scan the back cover. Okay, so now we have everything. Let's have a look. Okay, so that left page, of course, we don't need. Because, let's delete this thing. There we go. First page, cover page, and then we have the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There we go. We don't need this page 2. Let's delete this. And the back cover. So select all. And let's go to PDF again. And PDF quality 50%. Yeah, that's fine. Standardize. This time we select a 4 orientation portrait. Confirm, save to desktop. Let's add a few more D's to the entitled so that we don't confuse ourselves. Save it, wait, confirm, completed, and open it. And voila, here we go. Isn't that cool, guys? Alright, so basically this concludes our tutorial on how to scan your entire library. Anyway, I hope this video was very helpful. Leave a comment below if anything, and do subscribe to my channel. So till next time.